Welcome back to the Viktor Frankl Meaning Academy. We are your hosts, Dr. Baruch Levy, aka B, and Dr. Daniel A. France, aka Dr. Daniel A. France.
We can just go with Dan or D, but we're not going to use the A this time.
And we didn't talk about the A last time because we cut that out, right?
We did cut that out.
So
That's
tell us
right.
a little bit about what is that A that you have in the middle?
The A is for Adam, and I really didn't start using it until that was for most of us in the U.S. Our middle name is usually something only used when we're in trouble, right? Mom's mad and she goes full name, and you're like, oh man, I did it now.
Hey man, at least you have a middle name. I'm so broke, I don't even have a middle name.
What's up with that? Is that a cultural thing, or that your parents just didn't love you enough?
Well, that's probably this latter, but this will be a topic for another podcast. But I changed my name.
What? How can you drop that and then say we'll talk about that later?
I don't like talking about it because the FBI might catch on. So,
oh yeah, we don't want that. Yeah, that's.
But we will come back to the name and the name change. So until then, I'm going to skirt right out of this conversation and get into where we are on the calendar as we're recording this. And by the time this podcast drops, we'll be somewhere in the middle of the Jewish holiday of Hanukkah and on our way to the, of course, Christian, and I would argue American holiday, and rightly so, of Christmas. We'll talk about that. But what I do want to frame it as is, this is not a Hallmark sponsored podcast. That's not how Dr. D and I roll. We want to get into the meat of it's not just, great gift giving ideas, but what are these holidays doing here? And why would I say it's the American holiday? Because I think at the heart of Christmas, I know at the heart of Hanukkah is really December 21st. And December 21st, for anybody who knows just a little bit about how the universe rolls, it's the winter solstice, at least in the Western Hemisphere. It's the darkest day of the year. So what are these holidays, Hanukkah and Christmas, doing hanging around the winter solstice? That's where we're going to go, I think, in this podcast. However, you never know with the two of us. We could end up talking about male grooming habits.
Well, that will absolutely take place, I'm sure, and as well as a new update about your search for meaning. We can't forget to hit that after, as we said in pre-production. We're listening to the Nuos, to the Noetic, to the Spirits, and we made some big changes with your search for meaning. So more of that at the end.
Or in the middle. We'll drop it as a commercial, So
I like that. I've got my commercial voice going today. It's feeling good and throaty. So we'll Sunday, your search for meaning.
So Dr. D, tell me about your Christmas rituals or practice. I know you got one. What is it and where does it come from?
Well, I mean, for we Christians, I mean, Christmas is a holiday, but I would argue with you, it is a very American holiday because even those who are not Christian certainly celebrate it. But so our rituals, we
wait. I didn't hear the argument. We're agreeing. I said it is I think it's a very American holiday, and you said you argue with me it's not.
But no, I'm sorry. I would certainly agree with you.
Oh,
did I argue? No, I meant to agree.
That's all right.
Those A words this morning. For you listeners out there, we are recording this several hours earlier than we once did, so that may have something to do with it. I don't know. Where are we going? Rituals. What is Christmas? Christmas is the celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ, right? Or that's what it's told as. But we also know, there's a much richer history to it. So for most Christians, we head off to church and we do presents in Christmas morning and talk about Saint Nicholas or Santa Claus coming down the chimney and delivering presents and all those interesting things.
Okay, and that's the myth. That's the made-for-television Hallmark movie version. Mm-hmm. Just like Hanukkah has our made-for Hallmark version of I'm going very short story here, but the bottom line was the Jewish people returned to their temple after having reclaimed it. It was defiled by the Syrian Greeks, and ultimately, when we took it back, we needed to light the Hanukkah menorah, that candelabra in and that was housed in the temple, and you had to have a special oil. So you had to create it. There was no oil left except one canister. And instead of lasting one day, which that amount of oil should have lasted, it lasted for eight crazy nights. Right? Did you ever see the Adam Sandler?
I love the Adam Sandler. We sang Adam Sandler's Hanukkah song prolifically throughout college because, as the audience knows, and you know, I was the member, not just a member, but also the president of a Jewish fraternity throughout much of my time at good old Ball State University. So Adam Sandler was quite prolific in our rituals.
And I love I love me a good Hanukkah song. However, it's all childhood fairy tales, and we need childhood fairy tales. I don't, like anybody listening to this, right? Cover your ears if you don't want your bubble burst. But Santa Claus was not a Christian thing. It was adapted over time, and the story of the miracle of the oil is something that we made up. Now we need myths. We need important myths to really orient ourselves around. But I think when we do that, and here's where I get into the American piece, I think we miss out on the true message of not these holidays. Keep celebrating them. I love them, but the holy days, right? Because they have such a profound message. If you think about what each is saying in response to, I come back to the winter solstice.
Mm-hmm. And B, the significance of the winter solstice. I know I spoke of this on an individual podcast several weeks ago. As we in the States leave Thanksgiving and start moving, those weeks into Christmas, and then afterwards, as a psychologist and a clinician, I know these are some of the most difficult, depressing times of the year. Our body naturally wants to hibernate. We're experiencing less light, less warmth. And I would assume ancient man certainly felt that, and is that part of why we came up with these myths, to find a reason not to hibernate, to celebrate and find some joy in what is typically a difficult time of year.
You sound like a Midwestern boy, right? Who's experiencing sad seasonal
affective disorder. Yes, correct.
That's why you're going to move to beautiful, sunny, almost year-round Denver, Colorado, where we still have
I can't. I leave my office every night, regardless of the time now, in the dark. It's funny. I get to measure the time of the years by, if I leave at 7 p.m. every night, in a few months it'll be light out. But right now it is not fun coming home in the dark.
It's like God said to Moses, brother, come up the mountain, mile high, right? It's waiting for you, Dr. So yes, let's come back to it because it's a rhythm, right? I think this is one of my challenges with modern day spirituality. We're trying to resurrect something taking it out of its origins. Human beings lived in an agrarian society for thousands of years, and we went by the rhythms of nature. It wasn't so artificial. Like every time I go camping, I'm reminded of this. My whole family, and I got teenagers, we always go to bed earlier when we're camping. Why? Because we're in tune with the sun has been down for a couple hours now. And like the human psyche and the human spirit knows what to do if we get out of the way. Yeah. And so you go to sleep earlier and you get up earlier and you have a healthier rhythm. We don't have that today. Right? Like we're so far, most of us, some out there maybe, but most of us are so far removed from it. And so I think we need these rituals now more than ever to help us kind of get back and listen to the calendar, right? Listen to where we're at. We're in the darkest period of our year. We're in the dark, cold sort of the dark night of the soul during the calendar year. And so what do? We illuminate it. And that gets us into Viktor Frankl's work, right? We illuminate it. You put lights up on your trees and your house. I put them in my window in the menorah. But it's so interesting to me. We're doing the same damn thing.
Yeah. Well, and I think that goes back to, human beings across time are not so different, but we've grown into different cultures and different places, different practices, different religions. But certainly we need a lot of the same thing. That goes back to Dr. Frankl's idea that we are all in pursuit of our unique and individual relationship with ultimate meaning. And as I've said before, religion is often a way somehow we found to express it. But as you're saying, it's not always something we all agree with, and that we can all find that light in the same way.
And yet, the one thing we do agree with, whether or not it's not a belief. I'm not that interested in beliefs. I'm interested in knowing. Like, you just know something, right? I don't need to believe it. That's like that's an efforting. But knowing is just like this primal. I get that. So my kid and I were watching last week, Bear Grylls. What's that called? Man versus Wild.
Hmm.
We love that show. And every single time he does the same thing. He's dropped off in the middle of nowhere. The sun is setting, and he always erects a structure of some sort to sleep in and builds a fire. Primal knowing. I mean, animals do this. Caveman does this. Modern person does this. And so we know, like, we need to make a fire. It's to stay warm. But he was talking about it, and that's what I'm bringing it up. It wasn't just about warmth. I think he was even like in a warm weather climate in that episode. It was because psychologically he needed that light,
Hmm.
right? He felt less alone or lonely or lost somehow in the middle of nowhere just by having that light around him. And I feel like that's what we're called to do around this winter solstice. And so you have different ways, Christian,
Hmm.
Jewish, whatever. These are just different human responses to the darkness.
Well, B, what are some ways, if we take out the beliefs of religion and spirituality, what are some ways as logotherapists that we can encourage people to light this time of year, right? To, as you mentioned, to, of course, celebrate your holidays and your rituals, but what else can be done?
To me, this is a starting point, is just to just become more intentional about
Mm.
this period of time and take some of the emphasis off of the presents under the tree if you're Christian, and put them back up on the tree, on the light, right? Because I think just that can help reorient you to the message of this holidays. As do you, I talk to so many clients who are so stressed out with all the holiday parties, the vacations, the presents. And by the way, you know, just thank your lucky stars you're not Jewish, because you got one night. I got 4 kids. I got 8 nights. The math is brutal. And I can feel myself, and Ariel can feel herself getting like, oh, we don't have any presents for them. But you know what? It's not about presents, but there's an expectation and all this stuff. And that's when I go back to the Hanukkah menorah for me.
Mhm.
And I just look at those candles while they're burning. And I just sort of do a little meditation, a little reflection, trying to remember.
Yeah, and I believe you may have pulled this trick last year. I'm going to pull it this year, but rather than presents, have presence, right? Be present, rather than the material. Be present with those you care about. Be present with your family. Spend time with them. And I'm feeling it a lot this year. Both my girls are gone off to college. It's just my wife and I in the house, and I'm definitely looking forward to just their presence, and being here for what it will be, for the first time, a very limited time. As they get older, it's going to be very different. Traditions are changing, and so I recognize that, and I'm certainly taking the time to honor that, and certainly looking forward to them being present around here, as well as with other people. I know today I'll be meeting with my merry band of therapists, and we're just going to have a little gathering and eat and talk about what it means to be a therapist, and what we do, supervision to kind of make sure we're doing a good job. That'll be enjoyable too. What other ways to be
Well,
present rather than to focus on presence?
well, and to count the presents, and not the number of presents under the tree, but all those presents in your life, as you're talking about. There's a debate in the Talmud about when you put a Hanukkah menorah in your window, which, by the way, it has to go in the window. It doesn't go in the center of your house. Why? Because our mission and mantra is to be an or lagoim, is to be a light unto nations, and so we have to share that light, and it has to be visible. But there's a debate in the Talmud that says, do you count up or count down? Do you start with 8 candles and work your way down? Or do you start with 1 candle and work your way up? And anybody who lights the Hanukkah menorah knows that it's the counting up version. And one of the reasons given is because we're supposed to count our blessings, count our presents. It's a gratitude practice, right? Like, finding gratitude practice in this process is transformational.
That's beautiful. Yeah, finding gratitude, being grateful for those that you're around, being grateful for this time to slow down. As you said, getting in tune with the seasons. It is our body's natural need to slow down and take it a little bit easier at this time of year, and that's okay to do.
S-
Um, Too often, people are doing more because they feel like they have to go out and go shopping and have all the food and all the stuff and things, and burns them out.
So just as a practical tool, right? If you're Jewish, sitting in front of your Hanukkah menorah every night for just a little bit longer, and just kind of lingering on a candle, like making that literally a visual meditation of gratitude today. One thing, getting clear, really not just, I'm grateful for my family. Like just sit there and really watch it burn down. It's all finite. So just
Yeah.
watch it and appreciate it. But as a Christian, I think if I was a Christian, I think I would open presents on Christmas morning. I know it's a hot debate. What do you guys do?
I've never heard of this debate. B, what are you talking about? It is always Christmas morning, and anybody else that does it differently is just I don't know, breaking tradition. That's just crazy.
They're the fake Christians. Yes, I know.
Right? I don't know. Now, all right, admittedly, back in my older days when I was a wee little Danny, as you like to say once in a while, um, when grandma and grandpa would come over Christmas Eve, that was the tradition. They would come over because my dad's side was all scattered throughout the country. We would open a few presents Christmas Eve to be with grandma and grandpa. But yes, the big shindig was always Christmas morning, and that's still the tradition we hold today. You're telling me there's a debate though?
So, welcome to my strange Jewish mind. I sit around and wonder if I was a Christian, right? This comes being from the only Jewish kid in class in my Nebraska elementary school, and just longing, right? Longing. By the way, we could do a whole episode on "I'm Not Alone" because Barbara Streisand and Neil Diamond and Barry Manilow, there he is again, right? And Irving Berlin, White Christmas, all Jews writing Christmas carols, Christmas songs,
Mhm.
because there's a piece of the Jewish experience in America that really does long to be sort of on that inside, an insider. And there's something very romantic as a Jew watching Christmas, that I am a guest in this experience, but it's never really mine. So I do. I think my kids love to watch Christmas movies and all that good stuff. But I've thought about some of these things, and one of the things I've thought about is if I was Christian, I would open them Saturday morning. Not Saturday. Now I'm thinking like Shabbat. I'd open them on Shabbat. Um, I'd open them on Christmas morning and not Christmas evening for one reason, because I like that lingering feeling. Like kids go to bed, you're just sitting there, the presents are like there's still an anticipation. It's like the in psychology, the marshmallow test, right? The
Ah,
marshmallow test. Yeah.
oh, go ahead. Talk about the marshmallow test. Love the marshmallow test.
It's the defining, you can tell a kid's trajectory in life by giving them the marshmallow test and saying, I can give you how does it go? I can give you one now, or I can give you
Yes, you
two
can have
later,
you can have one now if you want to eat it now,
or you
or
can
if
have
you
two later.
wait, you can have two later.
And so the kids who tend to go further in life are the ones who tend to be able to hold off, to
Mhm,
anticipate, and to sort of have that willpower. And I don't think of it from a willpower perspective, but I just think about the anticipation,
mhm,
right? And I guess that's a Frankel thing too, that anticipation of tomorrow and having a why, right?
mhm.
A hope is so important. And I just think that could be a gratitude practice of sitting there Christmas Eve with your spouse or by yourself and just sort of thinking about what's next.
Well, and to your point about meditating over the menorah, that's a beautiful evening to just, turn on the Christmas tree and enjoy the lights and to meditate upon what does this holiday mean to me? What is this time of year? What does this gathering of people mean to me? And actually to take your time and meditate and to look at all those interesting ornaments on your tree and, remember, oh, hey, Aunt so-and-so gave us this one, or we got this one when we were together at this point, or where those come from and why you take the time to put them on your tree. Um, but yes, the marshmallow test also a sign of delayed gratification, and we know that those that can delay gratification, not charge everything on the credit card and wait to purchase things until they're ready, are far happier, more meaningful, and more successful in life. So I really feel like, can you do me a favor, B? I want you to go sit on the chair back there and maybe put your feet up, and we're going to start talking about this childhood in Nebraska, being the only Jewish kid. Like, and I'm not going to bill you for this one. I will ask for a copay though, but we need to dive deep into this childhood experience.
No, you don't just listen to Adam Sandler's song. This is for all the Jewish boys and girls just like you and me. So I'll never get through these issues. That's my plight as a Jew, but I can use them. I can transform the darkness into light and share with others. So coming back to this theme, obviously we don't plan this out. We just sort of go with the flow. One of the things I've been thinking about with Viktor Frankl's book is when we say book, of course he had many books, but the one everybody thinks about, Man's Search for Meaning. Clearly he wasn't a Buddhist. He didn't practice mindfulness meditation practice that he learned at his local Zen center. But I've been really rereading it and thinking about his book from a mindfulness meditation perspective. And one of the things I've noticed, he does this without talking about it, which is what masters usually do. It is a mindfulness practice, because I never thought about it from this lens, but as I'm reading it, he's so present. And I think that that's something I imagine a Holocaust scenario would demand of you. You're hungry, you're focused, you're focused on survival here and now, but you're all in, right? You're present. And even the way when I'm reading it now through that lens, I'm realizing he's so present. And then I go about my day here and I'm so distracted. Right. And I think that's one of the things that Hanukkah, Christmas, and this period from sort of like Thanksgiving to New Year's, we're much more present. Mm-hmm. And that's to me is part of the tools or the practice during this time.
Well, and let's talk a little bit. Why is that a tool? Why is being present in your day a good thing? Why are all these distractions not good for us?
You tell us.
Well, I mean, you start to miss out. You're living life thinking about, what's next, or where am I going to be, or what am I going to do later, and you miss what's going on in life today and those that you're around and what you're doing. We are wired for connection, and yet we live in some of the most disconnected times. So again, the point of slowing down, being present, truly connecting with those you're with, and not being distracted with, where do we need to go shopping here? What presents do I need to buy for whom? What's going on my smartphone? But to be present with people and to be present in your life is a very healthy practice. He did point out, I want to go with this idea really quick. Yes, as he's writing, we know he wrote Man's Search for Meaning within like the first 2 weeks of being liberated, right? Needed to get out of his head. So obviously very present, just freed from this horrible situation for the past 3 years. But he does talk about, and this is one of the things that helped him in those concentration camps and helps us all in our daily life is to have something to look forward to. And I think that's an important part of the holidays as well. Looking forward to those people we're going to be with, those days we're going to spend together. But that's an important thing for life, is to be sure that we put things in the future, goals, ideas, trips to Colorado, to enjoy, to anticipate, and to look forward to.
And that's that, and again, these are primal human urges. We know this if we just get out of our own way. That's why New Year's is a goal setting resolution kind of a time, even though it's been turned into some stupid cliche of, lose weight and whatever. Not that you need to, you look great, my friend. But
thank you.
And I'm very proud of you that you're wearing a black shirt. Like
I knew we were going to be meeting today, and that the black shirt was going to be called for, because I need to bring light to my wardrobe. So
like nobody should have to live in the darkness of a cardigan.
It found its way in again. That's awesome.
Where it's like Waldo. Where's Waldo? I've been Running Man. It's like, there it is.
Excellent.
But like a primal knowing of consciously designing my future, yes. Right? Not being lost in it, but just putting intention behind it. And that's what I love about the holidays. Every time I'm driving down the street and I see these trees and I can feel this energy of just presence and intention.
Yeah, it is. It is truly. I love that idea. If we got out of our own way, if we allowed it to be the most wonderful time of the year, right? Beautiful scenery, happy people, joyous rituals and traditions, a great opportunity to rest, reset, recalibrate, and re-engage in life. The first of the year, right? An opportunity to re-engage in a new way. Not this again, garbage cliche, new year, new me. Stop it. It's still going to be you, but you can do something different. You can transform, you can set new goals for the new year.
Can I get your blessing to get on a pulpit here and preach for a second?
Preach on, brother. I'm going to sit back with my cup of coffee.
Look, Jews, secular Americans, atheists, leftists. Not that they're all the same thing, by the way, but those are different camps.
Yeah, where are we going? I might have to interject. I'm getting a little worried.
Those are different camps that might, not always, but might recoil at the thought of being wished Merry Christmas. It's a debate out in this marketplace, and I effing hate this debate because 95% of Americans celebrate Christmas. I would argue about the other, there's a 3% in there that just aren't admitting it. And then the other 2% are Jewish. And we celebrate Christmas too. We just go to Chinese restaurants and movies. But nonetheless, the majority, vast majority celebrates Christmas. And it is all about, when you say Merry Christmas to me, all I hear is transform the darkness into the light and illuminate, right, this broken world through responding back. Merry Christmas. It is a beautiful gesture. I wouldn't expect the clerk at Whole Foods to know that I'm not celebrating Christmas, right? It's just an educated guess. Probably he is. And so instead of me getting all worked up, what do I say? It's not that hard. Merry Christmas, right? And so I know that this is an ongoing debate because it cuts into people's feelings of being outsiders or feelings of, whatever, but let it go. Like, just let that go and just be in the Christmas spirit of transforming darkness into light. Thank you.
Bravo. Well done. Unfortunately, those that are going to argue against you are not going to be transformed by that because we do live in such a polarized time where everybody has to have their own unique happy holiday or Merry Christmas or whatever. I appreciate that. I mean, you make good sense there that it is a celebration of the time of bringing darkness into light. But dang it, I wish we could quit being so offended all the time. But that obviously is what we work on at the Viktor Frankl Media Academy. We're not going to change. Hopefully, we'll fix and change some minds with this simple podcast. But I'm not sure.
And one last little piece of it is Happy Holidays is about as meaningful to me as Miss America, if that's still a thing, saying she wants world peace. It's like we have to stop talking in abstractions. I want to see you, my brother Adam, and say, I see you and I see you celebrate Christmas. Merry Christmas. Now, you're a lovely person who sees the people around him and sees me. And if you know I'm Jewish, as you know I'm Jewish, you are the first one to send me yesterday a happy Hanukkah, Brother B. And so you see me, and I love that. But if you don't know me, then you would just say Merry Christmas, and I hope, and not Happy Holidays. And so that's all I got to say on that. But I guess coming back to what we're talking about today is dropping our guard, dropping the defenses, getting out of feeling bitter and divided and angry, and like just getting into this holiday spirit of, right, transforming darkness into light.
Love it. And I think, again, we've illustrated several ways of doing that. Be present. Don't focus so much on buying presents. And if you are, I do want to point out from a previous podcast, I preach on this every year. If you're going to buy presents, share experiences with those people you care about rather than material. It is so much more meaningful and lasting. And for more on that, you can listen to the previous podcast I have about meaningful gift giving. Transform the darkness into light, enjoy your traditions, celebrate each other, wish people a Merry Christmas and a Happy Hanukkah and Happy Holidays. But I agree, that is far less meaningful. What else can we do, B?
I don't know, man. I think that probably brings the running man to the end of his run and probably brings us to a nice kind of place to wrap up. Unless you have any other specifics.
Well, I do. I want to thank we have a whole contingent of super fans in West Lafayette, Indiana. I have heard from local students there. We are a growing presence on the campus of Purdue University. So for all of you Boilermakers down there, hey, keep on listening. They have threatened to try to come on the show, B, and I'm not sure that's going to happen, but I do appreciate the listening and the conversations around our podcast. We promised the cliffhanger. We have completely revamped and re-edited your search for meaning to make it, I don't know, to make it so many more things, more universal, more palatable, more engaging for everybody. B, you want to talk about what we decided this week, what we heard, what we listened to?
You have spoken and we have listened. We see you. We see that we live in a world of Twitter and TikTok, for better, for worse, and that our sort of expectations, our focus, the demands on our life are just different, and I get that. I'm in it with you. So I'm not in it with you, by the way, with TikTok, but everything else I said. So
do you have a TikTok account, B?
No, I refuse to.
Me too. Same thing. There's a podcast why two grumpy bald white guys refuse to get on TikTok.
And for the record, I'm off white. So yes, it's
and look, I'm practically glowing down here in the basement. I don't know what to do with the light, but you are, I mean, tan for December, brother. That's really unfair.
Hence the menorah, buddy. Hence the menorah.
White.
So what are we talking about here? We're talking about creating a more fluid program that it's user friendly, it's time friendly. You jump in, you jump out. We're really orienting it around, first of all, community. And so having an opportunity, you can jump into a group of meaning junkies. That's right, meaning junkies. You heard it here first, where we get together once or twice a month. We're still working that out. You can jump in, you can have a conversation with other meaning junkies around conversations about meaning, purpose, and resilience. But wait, there's more. Go ahead.
There is more. I think I want to focus for a second on that idea of community, right? Because our original plan was to be very, I don't know, maybe a little too academic, too engaging. We had this curriculum and these learning experiences, and we wanted to walk through the journey of logotherapy and finding, your search for meaning. And then we realized, wow, we are making our search for meaning, your search for meaning. It's like, no, we need to do this differently. So the community is the big aspect. We recognize we all need it. We need more of it. And it was ironic. We were commenting when we met with our good friend, Dr. Elise, like how much fun we have when we get on our weekly meetings just to talk about work and business and the webinars we hosted. Like, this is what more people need, is this opportunity to meet, not some fancy curriculum. Now, the curriculum will be there. You get to do it on your own, and then the learning library will be there. All these great videos about logotherapy, existential analysis, the psychology of meaning, all the stuff B and Elise and I know and can put on a YouTube video, you will have to access. But the main part's going to be the community and the opportunity. We want more people to jump in rather than to have it about a few people and a big price ticket, big cost. We want more people joining this community at a lower price point, so you can hop in, as B said, hop in and hop out. You can join for a month, a subscription. You can hop in for 6 months, a year, however long you want to be there, be a part of that community, and those experiences is up to you. No more just a 6-month program, but it's however long you want to make it at a low monthly cost. We haven't figured out what that's going to be, but it is not the high price ticket we had previously thought of.
Yeah, no, I think that really nails it. We are building a community that is supported by content versus building content that's supported by communities. So
well stated.
There we go. That's a gift from us to you.
So hop on over to themeaningacademy.com to find out more. I don't even think we've changed the page yet, but you can find out about myself, Elise, B, what we're up to, what we're doing, join our different podcasts and different offerings, but also to see what we are creating at the Viktor Frankl Meaning Academy, starting with the new you. No, not the new you, the same you doing different things next year. So we'll be kicking that off in 2024.
So the only last thing I want to add to you and to our audience, my brother Dan, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, brother. And certainly a joyous and happy Hanukkah to you, my friend.
All right. Take care.
Take care, y'all.
Oh, wait, you didn't do the sign off.
Okay. And please live your life with meaning, purpose, and resilience.
I feel like we should have one of those old TV cut to the, the American flag.
Yeah.
And
the national anthem and then the different colored stripes. There we go. I'll put that in on the end.
God bless America. Bye-bye.
Take care.